It's Nick Wright. Doug Gottlieb is with us today. Do I Gottlieb it or Gottlieb it?
I
Gottlieb it.
You did. You Gottlieb it.
Well, listen, if you're here 3 more days, I might nail it by day 6.
Doug Gottlieb, you've been great this week. Good to see you, brother.
Shabbat shalom. Come on, give me a lead.
Shabbat shalom to you as well.
Good
Great
to see
to
you,
have you
brother.
here. We made it to Friday. So much happening as we head into the weekend. We're going to get right to it, so we don't have to say his last name anymore.
Loved by God. That's what it is. German.
Gottlieb. We start with the Bucks and Lakers in last night's potential NBA Finals preview. Giannis certainly hoping that's the case because he was good. The reigning MVP scoring 34 points and a career-high 5 3-pointers to lead Milwaukee to a 111-104 win. Bucks now own the best record in the NBA. LeBron, who struggled from the field, had this to say after the loss.
LeBron a career-high 5 threes for Giannis. When he's hitting those shots, how tough is he to defend like that?
You know what that means? There it is.
There you go. Nick, you still think the Lakers are the best team in the league after last night's game?
I still think the Lakers are the best suited team to win the championship. I thought it going into the season. I've thought it at every moment. I also still think, as I thought before the season, the Bucks are the best suited team to have the best record, to have the best regular season, and Giannis was the preseason pick, and at this point in the season is the regular season thus far MVP. This Bucks team, we were talking about this before the show, reminds me so much of, with a better supporting cast, but the first time around Cavs with LeBron. So like not the early Cavs, the years before, couple years before he went to Miami.
Ones.
No, but when they had Mo Williams and they had a decent supporting cast, not
Antoine
great.
Jameson.
Absolutely. When they won 60 and 66 games in consecutive seasons. And so the Lakers are obviously not a flawless team. Now, 2 losses in a row does not make them a flawed team. What has happened in these 2 games is one game they didn't have Anthony Davis and LeBron played poorly. Last night they're going up against a dominant team, a team that absolutely can win the title. And I would argue LeBron played C+ at best. Like, I didn't think he was terrible, but I didn't think he was particularly good. He was, last night, the 3rd best player on the court, and for the Lakers to be their best, he has to be the best player on that team most nights, and almost always better than the other team's best player.
You're stealing all my material.
Oh, sorry about
best
that.
player on the floor. That's exactly what I was thinking, which is I didn't know you would actually admit that he was the 3rd best player.
Well, I don't think he's the 3rd best player of those 3, but last night he was the 3rd best player of those 3.
Well, I mean, I think we have to, you said this about Tom Brady, I think we do have to at least, we have to remember he's 34 years old with a lot of tread worn off those tires.
Turns 35 in 10 days.
And this is the end of a really long road trip in which he played every game and Anthony Davis missed the game.
Yep.
So there is some wear and tear there. And I do think their lack of bench scoring got exposed. Remember, no Kyle Kuzma, who, when he's right, should give you 20 points. They had 4 points off their bench. So let's just go through the things that went well for Milwaukee. Giannis has a career night in terms of making threes. It wasn't the Michael Jordan 6 threes in the first half against Portland where he goes like, you know, like, I got it. Giannis was legit surprised he made 5 threes. He can say I made those in practice. That's the first time he's ever done that in an NBA game. And he was making deep no-doubter threes. So Giannis has a career night shooting the basketball, which makes him almost unguardable.
It does make him unguardable. If he's hitting threes like that, there's no defense for him. You text me during the game, LeBron can't guard Giannis.
Yes.
And I text back, no one can guard Giannis when he's hitting his jump shot.
Well, but my point in LeBron can't guard Giannis is, and this goes back a little bit to when the Warriors took on the Cavs. Like, the Warriors were well constructed, not just because they shoot the ball so well, but defensively.
Bunch of bodies.
Yeah, they just threw length and length and length at LeBron, and so not one guy got worn down. Whereas if you look at this team, without Kyle Kuzma's not much of a defender, but at least he has a body.
Yep.
You take him off, and now only Anthony Davis and LeBron James have the bodies to match up with Giannis Antetokounmpo. Otherwise, he's just too big, too long. You play off him, he gets a running start. So, look, they've hit 16 threes. They're playing at home.
Yeah.
I thought they got a pretty favorable whistle. LeBron looked absolutely gassed. And no Kuzma, so there's no bench, and they just got exposed in the second quarter. But I do think we have to at least take a breath and realize that it's not built like a 2019-2020 team in terms of the volume of three-point shooting, and that can make up for for maybe a lack of talent. Like the Bucks are throwing just three-point guys just coming down, just casting threes like old man YMCA basketball.
Yep.
And I do think that we have to have a thought. Hey, LeBron can't get a step on guys. Who creates a shot for them? Luckily, Anthony Davis woke up at halftime and decided, I'm going to take over this game. And in many ways, he was the best player on the floor. He just couldn't do enough because the bench was so far exposed.
But let me just follow up on that real quick, Jenna. If LeBron, I said this after the first game of the year. First game of the year when LeBron, I think, had like 18, 9, and 9. It was very bad. It's, by his standards, really bad against the Clippers. And they lost. And I said, listen, if LeBron is now to the phase of his career where instead of being a leading MVP candidate, he's just an all-star. The Lakers are drawing dead to win the title. They have lost 5 times this year. 4 of those games, LeBron has had his 4 worst games of the season.
Right.
Their path is a very obvious one. Have LeBron playing like he's still the best player in the world, and have Anthony Davis playing like I should be in that conversation too. Last night, Anthony Davis held up his end of the bargain, particularly in the second half. LeBron didn't. He's not going to be. The difference between Giannis and LeBron right now, aside from 10 years, is because of the 10 years, Giannis can be that guy 79 out of 82 games this year. You know what I mean? LeBron, I believe, can be that guy 22 out of 24 playoff games, but is not going to be able to be that guy more than maybe 65, 70 times over the course of the season.
You know, we were listening to Toby Keith, or at least, no, you weren't, and you weren't, I was. Okay. The Toby Keith song, I ain't as good as I once was, but I'm as good once as I ever was. That's what they need to expect from LeBron James. Like, he can't give it to you every night or at the end of a long road trip. The question is, how much can he go to the well?
You assumed I didn't listen to Toby Keith. But you're right.
I was teasing because we were listening to Drake, and you were like, are there any other words to this song?
It's not
Started
what happened.
from the bottom, now we're here. There's a lot more words.
Despite their bench getting outscored, despite the way LeBron played, despite no Kyle Kuzma, did last night surprise you at least a little bit?
Well, the surprising thing was Giannis. It is the threes. Listen, Giannis in his entire career only has 20 games where he has hit at least 3 three-pointers. Going to last night, he only had 2 games where he had hit at least 4 three-pointers. Like, this is not something you ever see from him. However, you're starting to see things like this a little more. He has 7 games this year where he's hit 3 threes. They are not shockingly 7-0. He has 14 of his 20 career games with 3 three-pointers have come during the 2019, not season, but calendar year.
Right.
He is incorporating this more into his game. And I have been on this corner for as long as anyone at this table has known me. That young man right there not only is going to be the best player in the world, maybe he already is. I know he thinks he is. He put the crown on last night, or figuratively. But when he does officially become it, if he hasn't already, he's going to hold that title for 5, 6 years. He right now is a player that has a massive hole in his game, and he still might be the best player in basketball despite that. So it is, if you start seeing that once every 2 weeks from Giannis, where he hits 4 or 5 threes, then good night, good luck to everybody.
Well, there's a lot to it. Look, I think the style that LeBron has played his whole career, you know, playing downhill, creating the contact because of the way the game's officiated, and we've taken power forwards out of the game and sometimes he plays center, right? I think that allows him to be him. I also think the part that we don't mention is he plays the other end of the floor, right? It's the reason that as good as James Harden has been for the last 5 years in the NBA, it's really hard to put him truthfully at the top of the NBA ladder because no matter what he does on offense, not giving you anything on defense, really kind of marginalizes his greatness at the offensive end. So he plays both ends. He plays hard. He plays for the team. He does put his head down and spin and is kind of out of control and throws some stuff up and hopes for the benefit of the doubt of the whistle. And he made some young plays. I mean, he's in foul trouble. That's really why the Lakers got back in the game.
There was a key moment in the game where LeBron tries, beginning of the 4th quarter, LeBron tries to take a charge, which would have been Giannis's 5th foul. I think LeBron got there. They ended up calling a block on LeBron.
It was the same play that LeBron got away with. Yeah, it was the exact same call on LeBron.
Earlier, I think DiVincenzo tried to take it on LeBron. But regardless, White Dante. Yep. But regardless, there was a moment there where it could have been Giannis has 5 with 11 minutes left in the game. They didn't get the whistle, and the Bucks played better. The Bucks deserve to win. The 4 bench points is the key point.
This is my 2 big takeaways were LeBron was the third best player, and I do wonder the percentage of times in which he can be the best or second best player on the floor. And the second part was, I'm not just impressed by Giannis' shot making, but that's the first kind of made-for-TV event we've seen where he's the reigning MVP. How do you handle that success? Can you rise the level? And he took his game to that level.
34 points, 11 rebounds for Giannis as the Bucks improved to an NBA best 25-4. Doug Gottlieb is the way to pronounce it. Coming up, will the Eagles take control of the NFC East away from the Dallas Cowboys?